Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Overwatch 2 series. If you guys are new to the channel, please do me a favor before we dive straight into this. What are insane tips for you guys? If you guys are new to the game just like me, go ahead down below, make sure you guys are subscribed, and drop a like, leave a comment, letting me know how much you guys love this content. I'll be sure to make more in the future. And without further ado, let's dive straight into this. Alrighty guys, so we're going to be starting off in this video with the DPS, right? So when it comes to Overwatch 2, DPS is probably the first thing you're going to play, because a lot of people want to get into Overwatch 2 and just want to start doing damage, really, just want to start killing people, right? And they don't want to play a tank because that's just too slow, and a healer is just a lot of stress, and you don't know the mechanics yet, you're still trying to figure it out, so DPS is the way to go. So for DPS, you do have a lot of range to pick from. We're going to be picking Pharah in this episode, as I described to you guys, positioning and doing damage and maneuvering your way around the map. But in general, positioning is going to be your biggest key factor for good damage and surviving as a DPS, right? So positioning, what does that mean, right? So you need to know your hero, and that's why I recommend highly that, in the first 50 wins you guys get, before you guys can play competitive, or the first 100 games you guys play, I highly recommend you guys play every single hero possible. Playing all the heroes will not only allow you to actually know how to fight them, but who knows, you might actually be better with another hero than the one you think you're playing. And I found out the hard way when I played Pharah, right? Someone took my hero and I had to pick another hero. I picked Pharah and I was just completely insane. I dropped literally 20 kills and like 1 death my first game with Pharah. So yeah, anyways, besides the fact, definitely make sure you guys play every hero. So let's go into positioning. Alright, so for positioning, once again, as far as you guys can see here, I am making sure I am in the back, right next to my healer, or sometimes very far from my healer, but also making it very hard for the enemy to target me. So once again, you'll notice that Pharah has the ability to stay in the air and do a lot of damage from the air, right? Now what this means is that when you're high above the enemy, for example, right above their head, which you guys see me doing a lot of maneuvers, for the enemy to target you, they'll have to pretty much stop shooting your team, right? So whatever enemy does splash damage or does a lot of damage, when they're targeting you in the air, trying to hit you and struggling, your team is practically safe. And if they're not hitting you, which is basically what you want to happen, then you are free to just damage them. And whenever enemies bunch up and Pharah's on top of them, it is pretty much guaranteed death, right? And the ult, like, don't even get me started about the ult. The ult that Pharah has is crazy. So once again, when do you want to use this ult, right? In terms of positioning, make sure that you're getting healed, right? A lot of people make the mistake of using the ult when they're in the bad position or when they're about to die and they just waste it. Ult can completely switch the tide of the game as a DPS, right? So what you want to do with your ult is basically you want to make sure that you are using it when you're getting healed or when the tank is taking damage. Do not, I repeat, do not use your ult when you're about to die or when there's like 4 people in front of you and your team's already dead. I would recommend you guys actually lose that fight. It's okay if they take the checkpoint, etc., and regroup with your team, come back, make sure you're getting healed, and basically use your ult. Alright, moving on to the next one, which is basically how you guys should actually be dealing damage, right? Who you should be targeting. So as a DPS, I want you guys to notice, right? So there's tanks in this game that have upwards of 700 health. Do not, I repeat, do not target those first when it's a big team fight, right? What you want to aim for is basically the DPS or the healer. Now, getting the healer could be tricky. If you're playing against a very good healer and you are a DPS, you can pretty much almost not kill that healer, even if your team is targeting that healer. A good healer will know how to maneuver, stay around the tank, and heal themselves along with their team very well, right? So once again, if the healer is good, do not target the healer. You will pretty much waste your time, the DPS will mow you down and your team, and that's what you kind of want to do. So step number 1 as a DPS, I would highly recommend you guys avoid the healer and avoid hitting the tank. Now this could be controversial for a lot of people, but I would highly recommend you guys actually attack the DPS. Some DPS have like 150 HP, right? I'm not familiar with all the names of the characters, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So generally speaking, a DPS, that squishy will have around 200, 225, 250, or 150 HP even. As Pharah, for example, which we're focusing on in the highlight of this video, right, going over DPS, 150 HP, you can pretty much almost one-shot them if you ride above and hit a headshot, right? Like, hitting a DPS is pretty much the way to go. Alright, so for the next point, we're going to be going over flanking as a DPS, right? So flanking in Overwatch is completely due to skill. If you are really good at the game, first of all, I would not recommend doing this if you're still learning the skills and you're new to the game and you're trying to figure out how to play a DPS. I'd highly recommend you stay away from flanking. Because if flanking done wrong, it's pretty much just suicide. Because what is flanking, for instance, right? Flanking, once again, is basically going around the team that you're fighting from the back, right? Basically leaving your team behind, right? So if they need you, that's kind of a problem. And if you're the healer, you can't do that. So you have to be a DPS for sure. A tank also can't do that because they're too slow and they don't have enough mobility. So you'd flank the enemy team from the back, and you would pretty much make sure that you are doing damage from the back, stunning them, using all your mobility, basically disabling them from moving, all different types of things, right? So this can be done very easily with Pharah, right? So how can you do this? You go from the back, you basically spread them apart by using your other skill, your secondary skill, and then you basically just range from them. You do damage, you dash up in the air, you zoom around them, you'll distract them while your team gets a chance, right? So this is very huge and can change the tide of the game, right? You guys gotta understand, when the enemy team focuses you, like 3 or 4 of them, right, because you're flanking them, you come from the back, that gives your team a chance to take that checkpoint, to do damage, to heal back, to fall back, to do a lot of good things in the game. So flanking them could be huge. Now, you could absolutely get destroyed, because if your team's not there and you think you're flanking at the right time when you're actually not, then you can just get absolutely wrecked, and that would be a waste, and it would be very embarrassing. Alright, the last point I want to kind of go over is basically, what is the point of DPS? And there's so many classes to choose from, and you're probably confused just as much as me. Some classes, like Pharah, are not really aim heavy because most of the damage you're doing is kind of splash based, whereas Casby, for example, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but anyways, that is a very aim oriented hero. So be careful what you're picking, know what you're good at, know what you're bad at. Some DPSs are splash, they're UI heavy, so you're using utilities a lot. So you don't have to have really good aim, just a good sense, a good game sense, and good positioning to do well. So if you have good aim, you do a lot of practice, you came from CSGO or Valorant, and you're just checking this game out, I'd highly recommend you guys check out the heroes that actually use weapons to fight with, and those would be good for you. So once again, that's going to be pretty much this episode. I wanted to keep it very simple, very nice and short for you guys to keep up with. And using a DPS, once again, is a lot of fun. I'll highly recommend it. But once again, do follow my tip I said in the beginning of the video and play every hero. I highly, highly recommend this. You never know what you're good at, or bad at for that matter, until you try everything. And once again, trying every hero lets you know how you can play against them. You know when they're good, when they're bad, when to push them, when to not push them. So I hope you guys enjoyed once again. It's been a lot of fun making Overwatch content for you guys. It's pretty much my second video ever for Overwatch. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys do subscribe, drop a comment down below, or like the video. Once again, if you guys enjoyed, I'll catch you guys in the next video. This has been your boy iTeHee. Take care and peace.